Hello, listeners. Bits for You will begin momentarily. Things covered in this episode are my trip to the Caribbean, Yahoo accounts breached, along with the recent news about the CIA spying on citizens, updates on Game of Thrones, Netflix, a couple of recent theatrical movie reviews, and we end this with Nintendo and Zelda. While you listen to this, you might have noticed a small difference in time after the discussion of the Logan movie. I included a review of Kong Skull Island a day after I recorded the entire episode, so the references you hear about the time doesn't add up, so please look past that and enjoy this episode. So I just got back a few days ago from my vacation. It was fucking awesome. Went to the Western Caribbean. Went on a Norwegian cruise line, the Getaway ship. I was there for 7 days, and it was fucking amazing. I ate so much freaking food, man.
Do you do anything else besides eat food?
No, I just ate. That's it. No, I'm kidding. I there was a bunch of activities on the ship. There was a rope walk, a wall climb. The thing that I don't think the wall climb was open because nobody was ever there. And when I approached it, like nobody was there to like climb the wall and stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not working or out of commission. I did the water slides, 2 different water slides. They have a mid-level one, which I did first with my fiance. Then there was a higher water slide. It was a drop, so you stand on a platform, and there's a countdown. So it goes obviously from 3, 2, 1. As soon as it hits 1, the floor underneath you opens and you fall straight down. That shit was fucking crazy, man. I was yelling like a little bitch the whole time on the way down. But my fiance didn't want to do that one. She was like, hell no. I'm staying out of that. They had an arcade room. We went in there a few times just to see what they had, but I don't recall ever spending any change or money on playing any of the arcades.
What about like casino or something?
Oh, the casino. Yeah, that's where we did most of our we were, I think out of the 7 days we were there like 5 days. And it was crazy, like the casino. It's interesting cuz the casino's only open when you're at sea. Which makes sense, I guess, because they don't want to take away the entertainment from the cities or ports where the boat docks. And
It might be a legal reason too.
yeah, exactly, for legal reasons. So the casino was fun. We mostly did the slot machines. I earned some money and then lost it, so my fiance did the same. I wish I would have taken more money. I would have done like things like poker and blackjack, maybe even roulette. They have a bunch of restaurants on the ship. Food is the food is freaking amazing everywhere. Like everywhere you go, it's just tastes awesome. And drinking, shit, I drank so much on that boat. Just drinking all the time.
What, pina coladas or what?
Pina coladas. There's this drink at Margaritaville, the Havana Banana. That shit is good. What else?
Wait. What's in Havana Banana?
Banana. That's coconut flakes. They top it off with coconut flakes, and I don't know what else is in it.
Alcohol?
Of course. Of course.
Is it like a vodka or something like that?
Probably more like rum.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think there was. I didn't taste vodka in it. Um, the we had a room with the balcony, which was a surprise to me because we had originally booked a room with in the inside of the ship that had no windows. It was a surprise from my fiance. She got an email about bidding for the balcony, and if she's a top bidder, she gets it, and she got it. So it was nice, great view. We would see the sunset. You know, romantic.
Were you king of the world?
I yes, I was. Of course I was. So it's something that we want to do with more people. Maybe you and your fiance can come with us.
Yeah, we'll see the timing of stuff. We'll see how that goes.
Have you guys talked about that, or you guys didn't really talk about it, like what you and I discussed?
Yeah, we did. So basically, we would have to be spring break of next year. Maybe.
That's when you might be able to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll talk about it over here and see what we can come up with. Well, we'll definitely have to go as a group.
So during that weekend, I think Logan came out.
Yeah. It
When
came
did you do
out. Yeah, it came out this past weekend.
Yeah, March 3rd weekend. Did you so you watched it when you came back?
Yes, I saw it Sunday. The same day I arrived.
So what were your thoughts on the movie?
Well, I thought it was from the beginning. It was. I want to give too much away for people that haven't seen it, but
yeah. So we'll do no spoilers.
It was great. I thought it was out of the Wolverine movies, it was a fucking great Wolverine movie. I thought that we finally got an X-Men movie in the X-Men universe that got the character development correct. You actually cared for the characters. You were involved in what their actions were in the movie. It was well thought out. The acting from the major players were great. Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and the girl in the movie. I believe this is her first big role, and she was very impressive in her first big role. The flow of the movie in general, I loved it. It was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I like the movie. The thing is, I when I go into at this point, when I go into X-Men movies, I have low expectations. The only one I really liked of the whole franchise is First Class and Days of Future Past. And Days of Future Past wasn't like, I liked it, but it wasn't like, whoa. First Class I liked. Still had problems with that one too, but those are my favorite two of the whole franchise. The first Wolverine was utter garbage. Because of the first one, I never even watched the second one. I was like, nah, I don't feel like wasting time on that.
The one in Japan, you didn't see that one?
No, I was just so like, yeah. The first one sucked so bad.
That was not as terrible as the first one.
Yeah, I heard.
It had its good moments. The ending for the second one, I thought was total shit. That's the only downside of the end of the second film was the ending.
Yes, so I had low expectations, and I know the X-Men franchise in general doesn't try to stay as faithful to the comics as Marvel. You could tell the Fox X-Men franchise is just scared to go where X-Men really goes. Like so supposedly the next movie is about Phoenix. We'll see where that goes. We'll see how brave they'll be. Like Marvel doesn't care. They have a freaking raccoon with a rocket launcher now, and just gods. They're not scared anymore. They went. Remember when Thor came out? I was really excited because I was like, oh, finally something that kind of breaks. Like, you kind of introducing magic here, and then the whole concept of a god in the universe.
And
Right.
similar to, I guess we could say, to Doctor Strange.
Yeah, right. And you keep on going with that, and they have not they have not been scared as X-Men. Like X-Men, they introduce Apocalypse, and they're saying all this impressive stuff about him, but we don't. I don't feel like get. I don't feel like he was as powerful as they made him out to be. Maybe he needed more time, or
It's only so much you can do in a 2-hour movie, and I understand what you're saying. That
I also didn't like his costume. I mean, besides looking like Ooze from the Power Rangers. But anyways, I'm talking about the whole franchise in general. This was probably one up there. It's probably like I just mentioned First Class and Future Days of Future Past.
how about
This is
Deadpool?
probably-
Because at least Fox with their Marvel properties, they hit it. They did a fucking amazing job with fucking Deadpool.
yeah, that's because they didn't care as much. It was low budget, and it was rated R.
I don't think it has to do with the budget. It's just the
Well, no, the budget. I mean, when I say budget, I mean like you could tell they weren't gambling this one too much.
Right.
They're like, look, here's some money.
Here's $60 million, which was the cost of the movie. Ryan Reynolds is a big Deadpool fan for forever, and he had a dedication to make this movie for, I think he said 7-8 years. He was trying to make it. Finally got it. He did it the way he wanted it to be done, and it turned out to be a great movie.
Right. To be honest, Deadpool is the only movie that's felt like it's been somewhat faithful to the comics and just different from everything they've done. It's pretty. I mean, Deadpool's awesome, and we all know that because it did so well, and people think so highly of it. But Logan, I wouldn't say is that level, but it's really good.
Now,
Based off of the character development you just mentioned, and
Right.
the sequence of the movie, you cared about what happened, which that's what was great
and
about
that's
it.
what's great. I mean, like certain characters in the movie, I won't say who, but they meet their end, and I fucking choked up when that shit happened because you're invested in that. You care what actually happens. All their words, everything. It felt like a small, intimate movie, but at the same time, it was filmed with a big, epic scale, especially when it came to the action scenes. I'm glad the action scenes were filmed in a watchable perspective, not this whole shaky camera shit that a lot of movies for years were mimicking. This movie, they scaled it down. I don't think the action was so big like the X-Men movies, like Days of Future Past and et cetera, et cetera. They scaled it down to just a mutant who is upset, angry at the world, and he just wanted to be left alone, but because of certain circumstances, he had to fight.
And another thing, the film wasn't scared to slow down.
Exactly.
A lot of superhero movies, we see them
Yeah.
mostly rushing through it, and then maybe in the middle they'll slow down a little bit to try to breathe a little bit.
Right.
Logan wasn't, even from the beginning, they were already
Yeah.
on that the first like 2 minutes,
Even
but
in
they mostly were comfortable being slow at parts to build up.
Yeah,
stuff.
to explain and the second act where they meet a family. I like that part. Like you actually get to see and the whole development of that scene.
And that little girl they got, Laura, in the movie, she did pretty good, and she has done actually something else, but she just did a Spanish TV show.
Yeah,
That's all
she's a
she did.
Spanish actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie is gonna put her on the map, and hopefully she gets more interesting things in the future.
I don't know if she even knows English. She did say some stuff in English
Well, she
in the movie,
spoke
but
it, but she can be trained or whatnot or coached.
we can tell, she had, I don't know if she was meant to have a heavy accent, but she did. I mean, we'll see about her career. I did like her though.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say was not so much bad, but could have used a more improvement was, I think the ending of Logan felt a little rushed, but not like in the sense that the climactic battle was over quickly, but I guess going back to what I said in the beginning, it's a more intimate, smaller film. Like maybe they didn't want to do anything big and epic because that's not what this movie's about. So that's probably my own expectation. But that's, again, since from my expectation, that's the only thing that kind of let me down. But besides that little small detail, the movie was, I fucking enjoyed it. It was great. If you haven't seen it, you guys should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I recommend it.
We both saw Kong Skull Island this weekend. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was an awesome movie, and they did it justice. Kong, it's different from the Godzilla movie because the Godzilla movie, you only saw Godzilla in total screen time was like, I think it was like 7 minutes or something like that.
I think a little bit more. He was in the final act, maybe a good 10, 15 minutes of the final act.
No, someone timed it. It was like less than 10 minutes in total.
Somebody timed it?
Yeah.
Oh, these fucking people.
No, seriously, someone did it. I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes.
There's people that time, what's that Mr. Skin website? He times when actresses, actors come out nude in movies and tells you exactly what scene and etc. I believe that people do that shit for Godzilla or anything else.
Well, Godzilla, it's because he's barely in the movie. I mean, when he's on screen, he makes an impact.
Right.
But he's not. It's a slower paced movie. I watching.
It's not
Kong,
a bad movie.
Kind of wish. No, it's not a bad movie. But watching Kong, I wish they did Godzilla like that. That was a lot better. Kong had presence. It was important when he was on screen. He was on there for just 9 minutes. He was there for, I don't know, 30 or something. Maybe more than that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably 30. But he pwned. Nothing felt too forced. Everybody involved, the whole cast, they all had, not everybody, just one person to me really didn't have much of an importance in the whole cast. And that was the obvious, let's insert Chinese actress in the movie to boost Chinese box office sales.
Yeah. As soon as the logo, the production company logos come up in the opening credits, it says Warner Brothers, Legendary Studios. Then you see some Asian company. I'm like, oh, okay. So the Chinese studios have their hands in this, and they're probably going to implement a Asian actress to get the box office higher. It's a common thing in these big box office movies because China is a big movie going audience, especially in the last 10 years. They've been more flexible in what movies go to China, and this is one of those movies.
No, yeah, this is, you just see it repeatedly. They'll I think this girl has been in other movies. I'm trying to think if she was. No, she wasn't in the X-Men movie, but she was in The Great Wall. And I think that's all I really know.
The Matt Damon one that recently came out.
Yeah. There's another, let's go for the Chinese
She's been
audience.
in a Jackie Chan movie. The Last Police Story that Jackie Chan did 3 or 4 years ago. She was in that.
Oh, yeah. Police Story Lockdown.
That was it. Yeah, that's on Netflix, I think, or still is.
Yeah, I think so. She was so useless in the movie. She was pretty.
Yeah, she's a researcher, just like the other dude. But at least the other dude had a lot, of information back and forth. She just basically repeated. I think she had like 2 lines the whole movie. She repeated what he was saying.
No, I actually think she had like 2 lines in the movie. I don't think much more than that. She was pretty useless. Anyways, besides her, everybody else was pretty impactful, or at least had some kind of part in the movie. They did something.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the actor that had less impact was John Goodman. I wish he had more in it. John Reilly was really good.
John C. Reilly made the fucking movie for me. He didn't have like a full-on comedic role, although he does comedy well. Step Brothers is still one of my favorite movies he's in. Walk Hard was also a good movie he was in. But I like that he just played a very gullible, out of the, fish out of water, lost in time character. and
Yeah.
some of the lines he said were hilarious.
It's funny. I kind of he actually made. This is kind of, I don't know if it's just I should consider a spoiler, but he kind of has a connection with a character that's not in the movie. Well, he's in the movie, but just for a little bit, and he kind of carries that relationship, and it feels like it was important to him, even though he was never really on screen to see what he talked about.
Yes.
And he did that. I thought that was pretty good. Even someone who was only in the movie for a few minutes was important and carries on to the movie, unlike the Chinese actress who's never done anything in the movie. But yeah, everybody else had something, and so compared just to the Godzilla movie, and I said a Godzilla movie, I mean the American one.
The recent one. It was released in 2014 in the summer.
Yeah, the human stuff wasn't that great.
Godzilla or in the new Kong movie?
No, Godzilla.
Okay.
Like, I wish it was better. That guy, what's his name? The guy who did Breaking Bad.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. I liked his part. It's just we didn't get enough of him. The intro, when he was only in the intro for like the first 5, 7, 8 minutes, or whatever it was great.
No, he was in other stuff too. Like he went back to look for something. I forget now.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I think he went from book or I forget what it was. Anyways, he's the most memorable character in that movie, and he was only in it for like less than 20 minutes.
Right.
So I wish but someone like him, if they had a cast that kind of like him, where we cared about, and they had, I don't know, memorable, because Kong, like I said, does have a memorable cast. Actually, their cast is pretty Marvel heavy too. Because you have Samuel Jackson, Brie Larson, who's going to be Captain Marvel, John Riley, who's in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He has a minor role and doesn't really do anything. Who else am I missing?
Oh, that's Tom Hiddleston. He plays Loki.
Oh, yeah, did I say he's a
Yeah,
he's a big one.
A bunch of other good actors that are you can recognize from past movies or TV shows were in the movie.
No, I just find it funny
overall,
that 4 of the actors in the movie are from the Marvel Universe, like the current Marvel Universe.
Yeah, well, Brie Larson plays a photographer in the Kong Skull Island film. She's I've seen her in other films. She last year she won the Oscar for the movie Room. It's a good movie. I saw it a few months ago, and she's a good actress. I mean, she did what she was meant to do in this movie with Kong. Besides being a photographer, she had interesting. I guess not interesting, but she had a purpose in the movie. Not like playing the dumb, like they used to do in those back in the days in the classic movies. The lady that didn't, the damsel in distress.
Right, and they kind of hinted that a little bit. Obviously Kong had a soft spot for her.
Right. Well, yeah. Without giving a lot away, jumping in here with my thoughts, I thought the movie was great. Go ahead.
I say it's not much of a spoiler. I think you figured Kong. Just seeing the history of Kong, the first movie, it was all about Kong and the girl. That was the Beauty and the Beast kind of comparison, right?
Right.
So I kind of expected something.
It was a romantic movie. It was the Beast was tamed by this woman.
Yep.
And
that was like the whole kind of theme. One of the themes going on for that movie.
They had
the original King Kong.
They cared for each other, but they couldn't be together.
I don't know if she cared that much. I mean, she
cared for him. She was sad. She didn't want him to die. That's caring.
Yeah. But
I'm not saying love, like, oh, let's go make babies. That's impossible. But I'm saying care, like affection.
I remember her screaming most of the time in that movie. It was kind of annoying how much she was screaming.
The original came out in 1933, and then the remake, there was a remake in the 70s. I think it was 76 or 77. And then another remake by Peter Jackson.
One?
Yeah, 2005, I think. This one was not completely a remake. It just took the mythology, and this is not giving anything away. The movie's called Skull Island because the movie takes place on the Skull Island. They don't go to New York like in the past 3 movies, remakes that they've done. So I like that it was original. I'm like, okay, he's on the island and they're gonna take him on the boat and he goes to New York. He climbs the building. I don't want to see that again. We've already seen that shit 3 times. Give us something new, and they did. They gave us something new. They gave us more history on the island, explaining things that occurred there, and they, it took place just on the island, which was, I thought it was something fascinating, a unique take on it.
Yeah. So overall, I would rate this pretty high in the Kong universe. I say Kong universe, the Kong movies. I actually would place this as number 2. Number 1 being the original. I really loved the first one.
Yeah, I thought the cast was great. Good chemistry.
This is another thing. The first one and the original Kong and this movie are different. So it depends what you want in a movie. But this, this new one screams blockbuster popcorn movie.
It's a fun movie from the beginning. You see Kong in the beginning act, the middle act, and the last act. It's not like the Godzilla one that came out 3 years ago that you only see Godzilla like hinted in the beginning and then at the last act.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that Kong was involved in the movie, in the plot, and the special effects I thought were fantastic. Like very detailed, with Kong, realistic. For what it is. It's a movie about 200-foot tall gorilla. Something like that.
They just compared it to the size of a building.
This is the biggest version of King Kong ever on film. They did a comparison. I have to find the website. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter. And
yeah, he's much bigger because in the original, he's as big as a
the
T-Rex.
original 1933, the one from the 70s, the one from Peter Jackson. This Kong from 2017 is ginormous, fucking huge. And I know why they did that. They did that because, hey, let's try something new. Let's make them bigger, and also because, this is not spoiler because it's already on the internet. But for those that don't know, I think in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, they're going to do a King Kong versus Godzilla. And in the last Godzilla movie, he was fucking huge as well. So it makes sense to have King Kong not as tall as Godzilla. I think Godzilla is always going to be taller, but close enough. So they had to make this King Kong huge.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, in the original, he's the size of like a T-Rex, and T-Rex is
20 feet tall.
It's big.
Yeah, 20 feet, 25 feet.
But it's not like buildings tall.
Exactly.
Huge building.
Yeah, he towered like some mountains in this version.
Yeah, you can tell it was kind of too big for the island.
Yeah, the island was huge, but he's just a couple of mountains near the shore where they were smaller. He just towers over them.
I'm just saying, he's not hard to spot on the island.
Of course not. I like the battles in the movie were with him and the creatures on the island were also fun. Well shot. None of this shaky camera shit like we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
that was good. And for those that watch it, stay after the credits. There's a little extra scene, which I kind of already gave it away. Gave it away in saying that King Kong is doing a movie with Godzilla in 2 or 3 years. But it's a reference to that. It's the same universe. So the studio that made Godzilla 3 years ago made this King Kong movie, and they're putting them together. And
so how about another great thing that happened that weekend was the release of the Nintendo Switch. But let's get back to that later, though. There is another news article, not news article, but I don't know how much it bombed the news stations, but the whole thing about the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
So the CIA, WikiLeaks had some documents published about how the CIA does some, basically they're the CIA spying tools. That includes listening on the smartphones and the smart TVs.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll listen into, for Samsung, it was for the TVs, it was the F8000 series. So they're able to listen on to you if you're close enough to the TV, I guess. And
Is it only
and
Samsung? Because I have a smart TV.
that's the only TV they went out. At least some of these articles published. I never went to WikiLeaks and read
Well,
all the
the
details. But
details would have taken you ages because I think there was 8,000 pages released by WikiLeaks.
right, and it details it does all the details on it. So this is also including the smartphones, Apple, Android. I don't know if it includes Windows or not. Windows is such a small piece of the pie, but Apple already had a statement
I wouldn't be
saying that they
surprised if the
addressed.
CIA doesn't give a shit about Windows. I'm like, who the fuck has a Windows phone?
You never know. But Apple already addressed, read the document and has said we fixed a lot of these issues already. But I don't think Google said anything. But a lot of people are not happy with this. They're saying if you found these loopholes in it, why didn't you tell the companies so they could secure it? Obviously, they did that so they purposely didn't want to tell the companies because they wanted to hack,
Yeah, they wanted to spy.
terrorists or something, or whoever they want to listen into.
Yeah, the same shit that happened with the NSA 4 years ago, with the whole Edward Snowden deal. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, for years, I think people, even though it's been in TVs and movies, they're like, oh yeah, the government or whatever is spying on us, and we either movies made us think that it was not that it wasn't possible, but it is possible because it's been going on.
Yeah, and I mentioned the smart TVs and the smartphones. It did also affect. There was also stuff about the PC with Windows and Linux computers that had Linux on it. So there was all this was released. So it's a big deal because, first of all, CIA's tools of spying have been exposed. Like I said, like Apple already said they did fix some of it, but I don't know about the other companies. They haven't said too much.
They haven't commented. I think Google, from what I read a few days ago, hadn't released any comments about it.
Right, they didn't want to say anything. So it's pretty interesting. People are mad that they're doing this kind of stuff, that they didn't report this kind of stuff. But it's like, to me, this is the usual CIA. They want to spy on you. They have a lot of control. They don't need, they don't have a check on them like the president does. He has a lot of checks on him, right? Unlike the president, they seem to be, very powerful, and they can do whatever they want. And they have, programs, they're, black programs, which means not even the president will know what those programs are. This is, this is an organization that's really unchecked.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's one good interesting thing that I saw online is a couple videos. I'm sure that Siri, the assistant on the Apple devices, there's probably a video about it. I didn't see it. But there was a video of Amazon's Alexa, which is an assistant, and the video goes on. There's a lady that says, "Alexa, you wouldn't lie to me," and I believe Alexa says, "No." She goes on about like, "No, I try not to lie, whatever." And then the next question is, "Okay, so what's the CIA?" And Alexa says what the CIA is. The lady says, "Alexa, are you connected to the CIA?" I believe is the term, connected or affiliated or etc. And Alexa just lights up and doesn't respond. Like, she responds almost to everything. Or if she doesn't know an answer to something, she'll say, "I can't answer it," or I can't help you. But when the lady asks Alexa, "Are you affiliated or connected with the CIA?" she has no response. So somebody did that with Google's Home. Google has a home assistant similar to Alexa. I think it's called Google Home. It was a video. And the person's asking Google the same thing. "Google, are you connected to the CIA?" And Google gives like some weird answer. And it's just more. It's just odd. Like it makes one think like, okay, these devices are programmed not to give away that information when they're meant to give away. Answer anything you ask it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It is. And another thing that happened last week was that Yahoo again is part of a 32 million accounts were breached. So 2014, about a billion Yahoo accounts were hacked. Yahoo asked people to change their email. Same thing happened 2 years ago. I think it was 500 million. And again, Yahoo found out months ago that 32 million accounts were breached. And Yahoo said last week, they actually made it public last week, and they're actually asking, they notified those accounts. And if you were notified, you'll be urged to change your password. I have a Yahoo account. I don't really use it much. Just have it connected to a couple of subscription programs, and that's about it. I change my Yahoo password every 6 months. Some people say change it every 3 months. People say 6 months. So I think the best thing to do is just change all your passwords 2 to 3 times a year just to be safe. So Javier, you're gonna have to change your password.
Yeah, Yahoo keeps on having troubles with their path. This has happened before.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. There's another thing with the Game of Thrones finally released a update. So HBO made people on their Facebook watch for over an hour ice melt, literally ice melting. So you're watching the ice be torched. Well, supposedly the flames of the dragon. And after an hour, the ice revealed the premiere date for season 7. And the date for season 7 is July 16, 9 p.m.
Yes, I remember it was in the summer. I forget.
They've always in the past released their seasons around March, April. But they had to delay it because they needed to film in the winter. So that's why there's a 3-month delay now. They're releasing it instead of April or March, they're releasing it in July. Which, it's good because that gives me time to rewatch the last season. I like to rewatch it right before the current season airs. Keeps things that happened fresh in my mind. Have you been? Are you?
Someone died.
Yeah. Are you caught up in it?
Yeah, I actually have HBO.
Oh, okay.
And I'm caught up. So it's one of the very few series that I'm caught up with. Because as most listeners will know, I mostly just watch wrestling. I watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead, or actually, to be honest, I don't remember South Park. But there's not very many shows I watch. I do want to watch what's that show called? Westworld.
Right.
I keep meaning to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. Have you seen Westworld?
I haven't finished it.
Like, are you halfway through, or?
No, yeah. I need like the last 2 to 3 episodes.
Wait, how you're liking it?
It's good. I love it. I love the idea of it. The whole thing with the robots. I don't want to spoil it, but I
would know what's the background is. What's the brief summary of what the show's about?
Well, it's set in a dystopian future where
all I know, it's like some kind of Western setting with robots. That's all I really know. I don't know much else besides that.
That's all you
it
know?
Sounds like an anime or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It takes place in a fictional future. It's like an amusement park, and it's with androids.
I guess things go wrong, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to give it too much away. Just watch the show. It's fucking great.
Yeah. Another TV show that a lot of people like, but I gave up on it, was Walking Dead. We already talked about this
Yeah.
in a previous episode, but I think we were talking about it recently, just you and me, and I thought, you know what, maybe I just watch the season opener and the season ending, and I'll be good. Because there's too much, it's too slow. A lot of nothing happens. Basically they put everything in the beginning and the end, or the first episode and the last episode of each season. I did miss the last few seasons though, so I don't know. But yeah, that's how I feel about that show. And I don't know any other popular show.
The only other thing that I have with shows is Netflix released their list of new movies and show coming out this month of in March.
Yeah, one of them is Iron Fist, and there's another one.
Iron Fist
Lucha Underground
is I think next week, the 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 17th. So the whole first season will be available for binge watching that weekend. They released some movies, some shows, Angry Birds Season 2, classics like Blazing Saddles are already released. The first 3 Jurassic Parks. Christopher Nolan's for one of his first major movies, Memento. Great movie. Nacho Libre.
I think they already had Nacho Libre though.
Yeah, they take it on. I mean, they put it on, they take it off. I don't know how their whole life.
Speaking of Nacho Libre, the other one is Lucha Underground. It's a TV show. No, it's a wrestling show. It's a wrestling show that's on All Right Network, which is owned by Robert Rodriguez, and I don't know if anybody else is involved, but it's really connected with him. Anyways, it's a wrestling show I always wanted to watch, but All Right Network has a very small market. It's available on like DirecTV, but you have to get like the best package.
I think I have that All Right Network, or at least I saw it once when I was flipping through channels. I'm not much of a TV viewer, so I have AT&T.
Yeah, it's different. It's heavy on the lucha, like Mexican wrestling, but it feels like a movie when you watch it. Like when they're backstage and stuff, it feels like you're watching a Robert Rodriguez kind of movie. It's kind of gritty, serious, and it's really well done. And then it goes out there. Like there's a character that is also a dragon, and then someone who's like immortal. It really goes out there, and it's really good. I'm happy that it's coming out because I haven't been able to watch much of it. The only episodes I've watched really were from YouTube, which they do aggressively take down. And then I did go once. I think it was premiere season 2. I think I watched at a friend's house. He has LRA. That's my only exposure to it. I really wanted to see a lot more of it.
Maybe they'll release. I know that they've released some of their shows, like they have the From Dusk Till Dawn TV series on Netflix. Maybe they'll release that on Netflix or any of the other streaming platforms.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see that. I forget which day this month, but it'll be released this month.
Speaking about this month, so Netflix is continuing with Netflix's releases. They have a new Amy Schumer comedy special. It's already out on Netflix. They have the classic Adam Sandler movie, Waterboy. That was, back in that era where he actually made funny movies. Now, recently his movies are shit. I know you're a big Adam Sandler fan. I think you still love his movies. I don't know why the fuck you still love them.
Not really.
Disney's recent film, The Pete's Dragon, is coming out on Netflix March 14. There are other.
Yeah, I saw that one actually.
I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good. I know it wasn't too hyped up. It's obviously a remake of their classic Pete's Dragon.
Did you see? Did you see the BFG from Disney? Spielberg directed it. That's coming out March 15 on Netflix.
I did not watch that one.
I want to see it. I haven't seen that one.
But I do recommend Pete's Dragon. It's pretty good. It has a story, and they don't shy away from it. There's a dragon in the movie.
Of course.
So
the dragon's in the fucking title.
yeah. So it's pretty good. It's just basically it plays with your heart.
Really?
And yeah, it's an emotional movie, and it's a kids movie, but it's like I don't know how many kids watch these kind of movies. Like with BFG or this or what's the other one? Man, I can't remember the name of the movie. It's like Kudo or something.
Oh, Kudo and Two Strings.
Yeah, stuff like that. Whereas
Did you see that one? I read great things about it. I'm interested in seeing it.
I watched like the first 10 minutes and I got bored and I stopped.
Really?
And it's a kids movie. that's what I'm trying to say. They're kids. Pete's Dragon I didn't shy away from. It did get emotional quick. It caught my attention quicker. But a lot of these movies are slower and more emotional, but they're still meant for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wonder. That's why I don't think this movie did that well. But it's still a good movie.
I'll have to check it out. So especially since Netflix is releasing it. That's pretty much. There's a bunch of stuff that Netflix is releasing. I'll see if I can add a link to it on our Twitter page at Bits for You podcast on Twitter. That way, you guys want to.
4 is
number 4. Number 4. One thing that's being taken out of Netflix is Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark.
Shit.
I know. We won't be able to see the epic battle much longer. It's being taken off Netflix in 2 weeks.
You know, speaking of ridiculously giant monsters fighting each other, this weekend we have the release of Kong, which we'll talk about later, and also I found this wrestling company. Back to wrestling again, but this is wrestling company called
goes
Big.
Back to fucking wrestling.
Yeah, it's called Big Kaiju Battle. So all the wrestlers are giant monsters in costume, and the ring sometimes has a bunch of buildings, like cardboard buildings, in the ring.
Just you. As soon as you said that, I just cracked up, man.
Oh yeah, there's like ridiculous things and like just giant monsters fighting in the ring around these cardboard buildings, like some kind of bad Power Rangers movie.
So where can we watch this shit?
I've only watched it on YouTube so far. I kind of wanted to go to the show in WrestleMania weekend, but it's in Orlando.
So
I'm
these
just
dudes
going to a bunch
actually
of
tour?
parks. Huh?
These dudes they tour around the country?
I'm not. They've been around for quite a while because one of the YouTube videos I watched was like an older MTV special on them, and it's kind of it is really cheesy and bad, but funny. Like one of the wrestlers, is in a unicorn costume, and he's called Unicorn Party. Like he's all about partying, pumping his fist in the air.
How much you like unicorns?
Yes, and he uses his horn to stick up someone's ass. It's just ridiculousness. So we talked about, you mentioned the Mega Shark, another ridiculous giant monster movie. Not movie, but entertainment.
So there's nothing ridiculous about a Mega Shark. Just listen to the title. Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark.
It's like a Godzilla movie.
He's nowhere to be found.
He's the king of all monsters.
Yeah. The fucking king. I want to watch that Kong movie. Hopefully we'll get a review on that soon. Definitely.
And so I did mention earlier in the podcast that March 3rd was the release of the Switch. And if you watch or follow our Twitter, I did release an unboxing video. I opened up the Switch.
Yeah, check it out.
Special edition
it's a really good video.
Yeah, it's a few minutes long, like 4 minutes or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that box for the Zelda game was bigger than the Switch box. Because the reason for the box being so big is because they have the carrying case and a map and all this stuff. And the carrying case is something that's meant to carry. You can put the Switch in it, some games.
Is this the collectors or what are they labeled? It special edition, collectors, deluxe. There's so many fucking names that can't keep track of all this shit.
Special edition, which is the one I got, and you can see it in the video. And then the other one is the Master Edition, which is the same thing, but they include like a little statue of the Master Sword.
So for like what, $1 million more, you get a statue?
I think it was 150 for the Master Edition.
Fuck.
I got the special, which was 100. I might be wrong on 150. I think it was 150. I remember seeing that price. Even though like statue looked kind of cool in the pictures. Like I'm gonna go for a special edition. I usually do not get any kind of special edition for these games. I think the last time I got one was.
What made you do that for this game?
I'm a huge Zelda fan, and I like all the things that it included. The carrying case for the Switch piqued my interest because I knew I was gonna need that. Because the Switch is a hybrid system. It's a home console. You can play video games at home, attached to your TV like regular. But then you could take it off the docking station and play it like a handheld, like a phone or Game Boy. So I could put my Switch in this carrying case and play it somewhere else. So let's say I go to your place. I'm like, oh, Robert's really boring today. I'm just going to play my Switch and ignore him. I just take out my Switch out of the carrying case. True. And I could start playing. Or maybe we want to play something multiplayer. So the two games I have so far for the Switch are, of course, Zelda, which you saw me unbox. And the other one I bought from the Nintendo eShop for like about $20 was Snipper Clips. And that's a multiplayer game. You could use with the Joy-Con the system comes with can be taken apart to become two smaller controllers. And then, so that game, that's what you do. You have to use a smaller version of the controller because the game is pretty simple. You don't need that many buttons. And it's just a puzzle game. It's very casual friendly.
Uh-huh.
As in, I can see just regular people playing this game, like versus, I don't know, some kind of hardcore game like, I don't know, Skyrim or something. Mm-hmm. So this is or Zelda actually, but this is pretty fun, and so I would play with her. So let's say I want to play that with you. I take my Switch with me,
right?
Put it on the table with a little stand, a piece that you take out of the system, and we could both play it. You don't have to be at my house or anything. We just go to your place. Or I could go anywhere. Right. We could do this at the airport, whatever. So my experience so far with the Switch has been all positive. I haven't had any problems at all.
No freaking dead pixels like people have been reporting. The thing that pissed me off, if you went, their official announcement for that was Nintendo put on their websites like, yeah, dead pixels. It happens. Like that. Really, it happens. Like deal with it. That's kind of like what they're saying. That's a fucking terrible response to the public, especially that spend $300 on a fucking system. I mean, whoever Nintendo has as their PR person, that person needs to get fucking fired.
Yeah, I wonder if we just quoted or something, because if it was expanded on, this is something that happens with those kind of screens. And
yeah, and I remember, and the PSP and the PS Vita had dead pixels. Sony didn't say, "Oh, deal with it," like Nintendo said on their fucking website. Sony said, "Oh, we apologize." They actually apologize, and they give you the steps on how to replace it.
So the technology to make sure these things don't have dead pixels anymore is better now.
That just shows that
the chances of getting a dead pixel are much lower than the days of the PSP.
Right, but that just shows that Nintendo's build quality on the screen of the Switch, even though it's not a lot of, that's not every Switch that's sold has a dead pixel, but it just shows that the quality isn't a great quality if you're getting dead pixels.
No, I guess, like I said, I think this is expected kind of thing. It just happens. Like for the PSP era, it was really bad. Now it's a lot better. This could even happen with regular things.
It's expected, but the point is, they fucked up by saying deal with it.
Like I said, I don't know if they were quoted or not, but yeah,
It was on their
that was
website.
not that great. They should explain
They
more
probably took
the
it down by
scenario.
now, but it was on their website.
And plus, you could return it.
I don't know.
Like
They didn't mention anything about returning it.
so, like in the days of the
But I guess you
PSP.
could.
For people who don't know, this is the handheld PlayStation system that came out. I forgot what year, but several years ago. It never really took off. So people would actually open a box in the store and then turn it on and see if there was a dead pixel. If there was, yeah. And this is something the stores allowed you to do because it was such a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in that kind of era anymore. And it's not as bad like that. It could still happen. Nobody has the numbers in this. We don't even have the sales numbers for America's for the Switch.
Have you encountered? There's another issue with the left Joy-Cons. People are reporting that it's struggling to make and maintain a wireless connection. Has that happened at all?
No, I heard just back when only the critics had the system. It looks like it was more rampant, and then the day one patch fixed it, and nobody. I think I don't know if anyone even still has a problem anymore. That was a day one patch fix.
With the left Joy-Con?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least
because a lot of critics were having that problem, and Nintendo was letting them know. I think it was letting them know, but people found out at least somehow that I'm pretty sure probably Nintendo said it, but that day one patch fix it.
Okay. Have you seen that the people online are reporting that save data cannot be transferred to any other Nintendo Switches?
Right, and this is on purpose. Obviously, I don't agree with it, but
I don't either. I think it's freaking ridiculous, and Nintendo hopefully hears the fans and the users and does a patch update soon, because it's ridiculous that you can't take it with you. It's stuck on that system.
Yeah, like so. Let's say you returned let's say you had a problem with your system. Let's say your system had a dead pixel, and you did play some Zelda, and you send it in, and they're gonna send you a new one. When you send it in, they can actually transfer the save data to your new Switch. They're gonna send you, so they themselves can do it. This is why I said it was on purpose. They are blocking users from doing it. They themselves can do it.
And for what purpose do you think they're blocking it?
I guess to lessen the hacking, but that's all I can think of. Because Nintendo is very protective of their properties, and I think this is just to prevent hacking.
But were they this protective of transferring save files in the Wii and Wii U?
To be honest, I can't recall. I never had a reason to do that. I never had a reason, period, to ever do this. Not even in the PS4 or PS3. I've never really done this. I know people are a little upset about it. I don't know why. Maybe they have siblings and they have their own Switches or something. I don't know.
Probably. They have multiple Switches, multiple consoles, and they just want to transfer their data to another console instead of taking it with them. Oh, I'm going to so-and-so's house. Let me just take it with me. Oh, fuck. Now I can't because Nintendo decided to block that shit from happening.
Yeah, this is only to save data. Like, let's say you downloaded a game, you bought it. You go to another Switch and log into your account and download it. You'll be fine. I think I don't know if this has to be registered to you, but you have to be able to, log in and stuff. I haven't tried that out. And another thing people have kind of figured out is there's 2 Japanese games that were not. There's a few more. I think it's maybe 3 or 4. But there's 2 Japanese games specifically that were only released in Japan and not in America. One of them was I think it was a Persona game.
Isn't the Switch all region free?
Right. So technically, you could actually play the game, but they just don't have the game here. So what people have been doing is either order the game and import and then bring it over, and have let's say I am Setsuna.
They buy it off an Asian website and have it shipped to their home.
Yes, I am Setsuna, that JRPG, Japanese RPG,
which is available on the PlayStation 4 digital download for those that don't have a Switch
and Steam. But it's you could buy the Japanese import, and then play on your Switch, and everything will be in English. It'll recognize that your system is in English, and the game will be in English.
Really?
Yes. Now that game is available in the eShop. It is available here, so that's not a great example. So there's another game. You could buy that physical copy. That'll cost you more for sure. Or what people have figured out is make a Japanese eShop account. You have to provide a Japanese address as as one of your addresses, and there's a website that will give you a fake Japanese address that will be accepted by the eShop. So you do this, and then you could and then you have a billing address. You log in, you buy the game, then you switch to your American. You download it to your system, and then you just turn it back to English, the system settings, and the game's in English for you.
Really? That's it. I think that's pretty neat. If it happens for at least the majority of the games.
Now the game in the Japanese eShop will mention that it has English support. It's not like it magically going to just turn into English support. But games like that have been out or has already been worked on for English as well, like I Am Setsuna or this other game I'm talking about, I think it's Persona. It is available in English. It's just not here. You could download it and.
Have you yourself tried this?
No, I read into it. I haven't been too concerned about playing those games. I Am Setsuna, I'll play it, but I don't mind just getting. The reason people did this was to get the physical copy. Over here, it's only available in eShop. Like if you go to Amazon, try to order I Am Setsuna, it's only digital. But if you wanted a physical copy, you get the import and you could play it, and it'll be in English because it'll recognize your systems in English. So it's a little neat thing. So it is still region free. If you want to do Japanese eShop, it's a roundabout way of doing it, but you could get it done.
Do you have the Switch Pro controller?
Yeah, I did get that on release date. I've been mostly playing with that for Zelda.
Switch Pro controller has a thank you hidden in the right analog stick. You move it down, in tiny print, it says "Thanks to all game fans."
Yeah, I did that.
Nintendo's little
I don't
thank
see
you.
it.
It says it. Well, according to the article, it's not in all the Switch Pro controllers. I don't know why some have it and some don't.
Right. I did that trick and I didn't see it.
Maybe. Oh wait. Maybe it's the Japanese Switch Pro controller.
Yeah, thanks is in English, so whatever.
I don't know. It must be to the Japanese fans, Japanese users.
I'm very happy with the Pro controller. Even with battery life, I've only charged it day one, and I've been playing Zelda for quite a while, and I still have yet to charge my controller again. I believe it's supposed to be up to a 50-hour battery life.
That's unlike because the PS4. PlayStation 4's battery life is like 10 hours or maybe less.
No, less than 10 hours. That thing dies on me all the time.
All the time.
It's so annoying. So it's really nice with this controller where it lasts so long. I don't have to worry about it.
And give me. I don't have the Switch. I want to get it, but when that happens, I'll let you guys know. Give me your impressions on Zelda so far.
Yeah, just before we move on to Zelda, just to give you some figures here. There are some sales data out there. So for the UK, it doubled the sales of the Wii U with 80,000 over the weekend, of the release weekend. In Japan, the Wii U sold 308K, and the Wii sold about 371K. The Switch sold in between that 313K, and in Americas they don't have the figure out yet, but they're saying it moved really well. They're saying it's sold better than their previous systems. So we'll see the number when they finally give it to us. Another interesting stat here, provided by YouPorn. During that release weekend, they had a 15% drop in traffic. They say on Saturday it dropped to 17%, and then on Sunday was only 13%.
Are you trying to say that gamers watch porn?
Yeah. It's just funny. You porn when what goes on about it, saying that every time it's like a big release or something, like a big TV show or something, there's a drop in porn traffic. So the whole weekend there was a drop in porn traffic because of Zelda. So I found that.
Do you fit into that statistic?
Probably.
So are you saying you yourself watch porn?
I don't know. Jesus would cry if I did.
Shit.
So the another interesting thing from YouPorn was Link. The search for Link, the character Link, rose to 164% over that weekend, and the search for Zelda rose up to 102% over that weekend.
On the actual website, YouPorn?
Yeah, on YouPorn.
What, are people searching for porn of Zelda?
Yes. It's pretty funny.
Shit.
I don't know if you know this. I forgot which website.
What is it,
might
like
have been
cosplay? Cosplay porn?
I guess.
Or that the anime one, the hentai?
Yeah, like unofficial stuff. I don't know if you know this. When Overwatch was released, there was a huge stream of like new porn related to Overwatch. A lot. I think they said it was the highest amount they ever had for any kind of video game.
Holy shit.
Because a lot of the characters in Overwatch are pretty interesting, and there's some, really cute characters. And yeah, I could tell you, even if you're not, for some reason you don't watch porn. Let's say you're really weird, or you're Jesus. Let's say you're not into porn. You could see it in the cosplay community.
We're
There
talking
is a
about
ton-
Jesus,
a
the
ton of Overwatch.
gardener, not the other
Huh?
Jesus.
Jesus?
Yeah, the gardener, the one that cuts the grass.
Yeah.
All right. So stop with this. Let's stop with this fucking obsession with porn that you have. Continue with the fucking.
Well, it's an
Zelda
interesting
thing.
stat. Yeah. Freaking porn traffic drops down.
It's just that's just that website's. They just want the
Getting
attention. Yeah. They're like,
attention.
oh, here you go. This is what we
This-
have for some stats.
This is not the first time we've done it, but it's just funny to see. This just builds up the hype for Zelda. I'm building up the hype for Zelda.
Well,
here.
it came out the same weekend as the movie Logan, so maybe Logan financial box office got hurt a bit because of the Switch. Could have been a lot higher.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's just a 2-hour movie. You just go and watch it and come back.
Yeah, some people avoid going to the cinema just to play a game.
Well, you can bring your Switch with you to the movies.
Yeah, you can't. They would kick you out for playing it during the movie.
Just says your phone.
You can. You're not supposed to use your phone either.
I'll tell them it's an emergency. You have to save the princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the game is awesome. It's different from any previous Zelda games. So everybody's talked about how open world it is. As in, the map is huge. There's plenty of things to do out in this huge world. The world is not repetitive at all. Everywhere it feels something completely new and different, which is that in itself is a huge accomplishment because there's so many games out there where it's open world, but it's extremely repetitive. Like in this world, it's not like that. Everything's placed differently. There's different things that happen. It feels like a real world. So it's very expensive. Not expense.
Expansive.
Yeah, expensive. So the game also you don't have to play the story right away. There's people who just don't. So you can just play the whole game without playing the story. Now, saying that is as in, yeah, there's so much shit to do. You don't have to play the story, but obviously you want to do the story, and the story leads you to new areas too. But the story is something you don't have to focus on if you don't want to. It's the option. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Something they did away with also are dungeons.
Are you shitting me? There's no dungeons?
Now, yeah, let me expand on that.
Please, because
So there's
that's not
yeah.
that's not looking good for me, man. I love me some
No.
dungeons.
No, yeah. So what they have in the game there's a few things in the game. They have something called shrines. They're like small, tiny dungeons that have basically they have a puzzle to them or a boss fight. When I say boss fight, it's just a fight with like a guardian. A guardian is this mech basically that you fight, and they get really they range from really weak to fucking insanely strong. And you can watch videos of people trying to fight these guardians, and it's hilarious. But anyways, so the shrine, you either solve some puzzle, you have to think about it how to solve this puzzle, just like in any dungeon in Zelda games.
Uh-huh.
And when you get to the end, you meet I forgot what they're called. They're kind of like monks or something. They'll give you an orb, a spirit orb, and when you get 4 of those, you can turn it in for a heart or to increase your stamina. And there's, I think, over 70 shrines in the game. So you get the idea of, holy shit, there's a ton of shrines, a lot of these things to do. So that's one thing that kind of replaces dungeons. The other thing, I don't want to go into too much detail because it's kind of related to the story, and I don't want to do any spoilers. Basically, these 4 things you have to go to, and they're kind of like dungeons. There are enemies in there, but barely any enemies. It's mostly about this huge puzzle you have to solve.
Bottom line, there is some form of a dungeon.
Yeah, as in traditional, I get a key, get to this room.
Right.
No. But there's these places with big puzzles. Now, I heard, I haven't gotten into this far in the game yet, Hyrule Castle, the last level, the last area in the game, to fight Ganon and stuff, is a dungeon.
All right. Give me some feedback on the gameplay. What do you think so far of the gameplay?
Yeah, so
like how, and along with how it controls, how it feels.
The controls are easy to deal with and really well done and thought out. Even with the Pro Controller, you remember the Wii? You had the motion control,
right?
Maybe to aim with your bow and arrow. Even the Pro Controller has that option, has that going on, and it's done really well. Like sometimes when you have these kind of controls, you want to turn them off. I do not want to turn it off for this game.
Okay.
There's a quick equip button basically, because you get several types of equipment like swords or shields, and you could equip it quickly, because weapons do break, just like in other.
Every weapon breaks.
The Master Sword does not.
Does not, because I was obviously I don't as I mentioned I don't have the game. Some people were saying that it does break, but you could repair it. But the other weapons that break, you cannot repair. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah. As far as I heard, Master Sword does not break at all, period. There is a weapon you get early in the game, the story, if you go with the story, that it does break, but you go somewhere and they say, here's a new one. It's because it's like a legendary weapon kind of thing. I don't want to go into the details of who it belongs to or anything, but it's a weapon that's pretty badass, and not super badass, but it's pretty good. And the nice thing about it is you can keep on using it, because even if it breaks, you go back to the blacksmith, he'll give you a new one. You have to have materials for it, but he'll make you a new one. So it's not exactly repairing. You use it till it breaks, and then you go to him and he's like, here's a new one, after you give him materials.
What are your thoughts on the game on a technical, visual standpoint?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I should post some screenshots. I posted them to my personal Facebook page, but I should post them on Twitter. The environment is beautiful.
Bits for You podcast on Twitter, and on Facebook, Bits for You podcast.
Right. I should. I'll start doing that. I'll start posting here and there some screenshots of me playing the game. But it's been a ton of fun.
How many hours would you say you've played the game so far?
I had work, so I had spring break, and I just took off the whole week. I'm gonna do some yard work.
So the game doesn't calculate the hours played. You have to kind of guess yourself.
If you had a Wii U or Wii, they does log how much you played, It's under your profile. It's not like
So
super.
the Nintendo decided to leave that out for the Switch.
No. For the Switch, it's and the Wii and the Wii U, it's pretty easy to get to. I think it's like right there in the main menu to just see logged hours. And here you actually have to go to your profile and then look at it. I haven't looked at it. I'm sure I spent like, let me see. Last night alone, I spent about 5 hours. On Thursday, I spent I don't know 3 hours, and then the weekend I had it maybe a total of 10 or 12 hours. You know. So I played it, probably, you think I played a lot considering that I don't usually play that much. Because when I get home, I usually have to cook and all this stuff, and I've been rushing to do stuff just so I could play. Or sometimes I go play cards games in the comic book stores. I play this card game called Force of Will, basically like Magic. I didn't even go this week, so I could play Zelda. Friday, I took the night to play.
Is that the only game you have on the Switch?
No. Like I mentioned earlier, I have Snipper Clips. I've played that.
That's some bullshit, man.
No, it's a lot of fun. I played that. I have exclusively played that with my fiance.
You should get Super Bomberman or Bomberman R. Or is it called Bomberman R?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've burned out myself.
That's a fun multiplayer game. I mean, they've always been in the past.
I know. I just felt I've played so many of them. I feel like I burned myself out on them. Maybe if it goes on sale one day, I'll buy it. But right now, Zelda's plenty of game for me.
What's one negative thing or one thing you weren't so thrilled about, either on both the actual console, the Switch, and on the game Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild? If you had one thing to complain about.
I have zero things to complain about
you're so
for Zelda.
Fucking biased. You're so fucking biased.
Look at the reviews. There's so many websites that give it 10 out of 10.
People have given one thing.
Yeah, like a 9 out of 10. And I think maybe for the dungeons, that's the only complaint I really heard. There's not like the typical dungeons.
Is Nintendo paying you for this?
No, I'm serious.
To brown nose the game.
This is the highest rated game ever on Metacritic. You know what's number 2 now? Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time is a fucking badass game.
That was rated the top game forever, and then not based on my personal opinion. That is
still my favorite Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time.
If you go by critics on Metacritic,
the critics, man.
Yeah, but I'm just giving you a comparison here. Like
I'm just busting your balls.
I know, but it's basically people are saying it's better than Ocarina of Time.
All right.
I will go ahead and say it's based on your personal preference because Ocarina of Time is very story driven. There's no like, I'm gonna go and spend like 10 hours doing jack and shit, or explore this and that for 10 hours. There's none of that in Ocarina of Time. It is there in Breath of the Wild. Now, even when it comes to the story, it could take you a while to get somewhere because the map is so huge. Like to get somewhere, it took me a few hours to get to it, and then when I got there, the story element took me another few hours.
Mm-hmm.
So story can take a bit of time just getting to it because the map is so big. If that annoys you, then I guess that's a negative. But the thing is, the world is so well put together and exciting. I don't see a reason to hate it. And like I said, the typical dungeon thing is gone, and maybe people don't like the weapons breaking, but I'm fine with that because you could have so many weapons, and it forces you to use different weapons.
Anything else you want to add to the
Switch itself?
The ass kissing that you've done for the Nintendo so for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, the Switch itself, I had zero complaints about it. I did hear about. I'm not one of those guys who buys all these accessories to attach to my Switch. I know there's a grip thing for the Joy-Cons, and it's come out that it does not work well with the Joy-Cons. As in, when you take it off, it kind of strips a little bit of the material off the Joy-Con.
Right.
So I know one of the companies did a recall on that. so you can return it and get your money back. Because they didn't, the prototype was fine, but the one they actually came out with is not. So, anyways, that's a negative, I guess. But it's, I never did that, so I'm not worried about it. Never got any dead pixels, no Joy-Con problems. Everything's been good for me. The only thing I wish they did mention was go into great details about charging your Switch. Because before it came out, I looked heavily into this. Oh, can I use my power bank on the go? Can I use this to charge it? The answer is yes, but it's not very fast because Switch requires a lot of power. And I think there are battery banks that will do it for you, but I didn't feel like spending money on that. I haven't even done that with mine because I've been mostly playing at home. Sometimes I'll play in the downstairs in the living room, and so that's the times I've taken it out of the docking station and played it as a handheld. But most of the time I do play as a home console.
And the screen, does it feel strong? Does it scratch easily? Does it get fingerprints easily on it?
Like I said, I spent maybe 3 hours in total, being maybe less. I don't know, maybe say 2 hours as a handheld, and I didn't have any problems with it. I don't see any scratches but I'm different with that. I have never bought a screen protector for my phone.
I've seen some screenshots where people say that the docking station, when they go to dock it scratched their screens.
No, that's not happened to me. I don't know what they're doing. Are they throwing it in there? I don't know.
Probably. They're just like, here, start charging. Just
you know how people are. People are crazy, and they may mistreat stuff and then give a bad review on something because of themselves are mistreating it. I'm not talking about specifically for the Switch. I know we are talking about it, but in general, people do that shit all the time.
Bad people.
I was like, just to give you an example. This is not technical or hardware related. I was reading reviews for Planet Earth 2 on Amazon. I already watched it, and I thought it was fantastic. I was reading reviews just to see, and some of the bad reviews, why people rate it bad. One guy was saying that the story was bad.
The story?
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is a documentary.
he didn't like the documentary or the narrator.
Like, this is not some kind of movie. This is a documentary. That comment was ridiculous. I was like, okay, whatever.
The documentary, they're when somebody makes a documentary, they're making it based on a story. The story is about the planet, in a sense.
Right. Yeah, but there's no like, oh, it's a certain character. Yeah, there's not Bob.
There's no
Bob the Rhino.
There's no traditional narrative.
Yeah, like I said, you don't have like main characters. Oh, just Bob the Rhino, and he's going to kill Scar the lion. There's none of that shit. Nothing of that shit is going on. They're just showing you.
I love reading people's bad comments or reviews.
There's another one I read on Planet Earth 2. Complain about the number of episodes. Planet Earth 2 is 6 episodes. Compared to the original, I think it was about 10 or 11. I believe
so, yeah. I think the original series was, I think like 9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah, and this guy was complaining that was only 6 episodes. I'm like, okay, whatever.
He wanted more of the planet.
So you give it a bad rating because you wanted more. I'm just trying to show you. Some people say the stupidest shit. And, be careful and read thoroughly about what you're looking into and what to expect. I'm not going to expect, like the Power Rangers movie. Here's another example. It comes out, another 2 weeks? I do not expect a glowing review from critics. I don't expect to go to Rotten Tomato and see it's a 95% fresh rating on Power Rangers the movie. It is kids driving a mech fighting giant monsters. The show, if it was reviewed by some critic, is not going to get raving reviews or anything. It is a cheesy giant monster.
The series is not meant for critical acclaim.
Right. So when it comes to reviews for that, I don't give a shit.
Fans.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the fights. I'm going to watch the giant monster robot action going on. I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm not gonna care about anything too specific. You know,
All right. So we have to wrap this up. Do you have any other things you want to mention?
No, that's all I want to mention.
You sure? You can talk.
Yeah.
To me. Come on, tell me.
No, it's good.
All right then.
No story about the guy who fucks dolphins.
No, not today. That's we're gonna have to put that to rest for a while. You know, for the sake of the dolphins.
Yeah, people who don't know what we're talking about. It's a reference to the ending of episode 3. We mentioned some guy.
Episode 4.
Oh, is it 4? Sorry.
Yeah, episode 4. Yeah, just listen to it to find out what happens with the dolphins. Just to elaborate, dolphins were not harmed in the making of this episode or show period.
Yeah.
All right, then. So that's this episode. We talked about a lot of stuff. We'll be back soon with more things to discuss. That episode was recorded on the 11th of March. If you enjoyed this, please support the podcast by leaving a review and rate us on iTunes, Google Play Music, or any of the other podcast platforms. Shit, I can hardly talk now. Share this with your friends and family. While you're at it, why don't you not share it on social media? You can stalk us on Twitter at Bits4U Podcast. On Facebook, you can search us Bits4U Podcast, or send an email bits4upodcast@gmail.com. If there's anything you wish to ask us or wish to discuss, send us your questions. It doesn't have to be only about entertainment. You can, if you're having a bad day, if you like to, we like to hear that too. If you saw something in the media or anything in your surroundings that upset you, or even brought you a bit of joy to your life, share that with us. If you want to tell us how much you love this podcast, then do so. If you want to tell us how much you dislike this, then please, I would like to read that as well. I will have the links on how you can contact us in the description of this episode. Thank you for listening.